Hey, welcome everybody to an episode of Change Starts With Us, Ohio. Today our guest is Becky White. She lives in Florida. Her fiancé is incarcerated in Florida, but he is from Ohio. Is he claiming his innocence?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, that's what I put down as a title, a man fighting for his freedom. Fighting for his innocence. Why don't you share a little bit? I know we're not going to mention his name because there's some court proceedings happening, but share the gist of his situation that can actually convince people that he's innocent.
The gist of the situation is that when his ex-wife and stepdaughter found out that he had moved on as she had 3 years prior,
right,
with his life, and that he had basically a new family, that enraged them very much, because he was the breadwinner and he would always take care of them regardless, right, if I were there or not. So when they found that out, that upset them very much. They waited until after Christmas of 2015 so they could get as much money as possible from him, which they got about $2,500 for Christmas, and she was asking for more. The daughter had gotten in trouble from some text messages her mother found out, she's a known liar, and self-admitted liar. To get herself out of trouble,
How old is her stepdaughter? How old is the stepdaughter?
The stepdaughter at the time of the allegation was 14.
Okay, a lot of times they are troublemakers at that age.
Right. She had been, like I said, a self-admitted liar for quite some time, and her mother was very aware. Basically, she got caught with a text message on her phone about giving oral sex to her then boyfriend, and she was afraid that her mom was gonna beat the crap out of her, like it happened so many times.
Right.
And she just came up with a story, and she basically had to float with that story because she couldn't say that she lied then about that. So that story was January 1st of 2016. Then the mother and no one in the family contacted law enforcement. None of the sort. They started to call my fiance and ask him for money. The very January 1st, 2016, asked him for money. He was at work, and they said if they didn't get the $600, that they were going to tell the story. So they didn't go to anybody. The daughter went to the school, and she had gotten in trouble for skipping class. She then told the guidance counselor the reason that she was skipping class was because of yet another variation of this story about her stepfather.
What was the charges exactly on your fiance?
The first when he was arrested, it was a lewd and lascivious, and then there was another charge, another count, I should say, and it was basically it was a statutory rape.
Any DNA at all?
No, there was no DNA. Basically zero. It was just what she said. She said that, and that was all that the court went with. He was never arrested before. He didn't have any kind of no kind of criminal record whatsoever. He was put into the jail, and he actually walked up to the officers. He was put in the jail. This didn't happen until September of 2016, September 21st, and he was put in jail on a $200,000 bond. And
wow!
They refused the bond, refused him. Yes. They would not give him a bond reduction, even though he was a very, productive citizen here. There was no reason for him to leave. We actually made a trip to Ohio in August, because that was the family reunion, and that really upset the ex-wife. And things just were progressing. They were just harassing, calling his job, harassing his employees because he was a supervisor and he had a lot of employees underneath him. And basically, he walked up to them when they came to arrest him. They didn't even know who he was. The investigators were pretty nice to him. They didn't slap cuffs on him. and they took him to jail, held him on $200,000 bond. Of course, no one could pay for that, and the ex-wife got in there, and she said that basically his brother was going to get him out of the country, and a whole lot of things that weren't true.
Right.
And we applied for bond reductions. That never happened. They were all denied. Then he had a paid attorney, which he wouldn't take a deal. His paid attorney wanted him to take a deal. He didn't want to. He wanted to talk to him about a defense. He sat in jail for 420 days, and this paid attorney never came to see him to talk about a defense whatsoever. The only time he had seen him was in the court at court dates.
Did you file a complaint against your attorney?
Yes, we did file a complaint with the Florida Bar against the attorney.
Right.
He also withdrew because he said he wasn't going to take the deal. They offered him 15 years as a package deal for, they dropped the statutory rape charge. So he only had the lewd and lascivious, and they were giving him they dropped the lewd and lascivious, and he only had the statutory rape charge, and they wanted to give him 15 years. And, he's not going to take a deal or a plea for something that he didn't do.
Right.
And he declined, and his paid attorney asked the judge to withdraw. The judge allowed him to withdraw. The public defender was sitting in the courtroom at the time, and she raised her hand and said, "I'll take the case." That's when it starts to get, I don't know if something was going on with the first attorney, but with the public defender, the judge and the public defender had a lot of animosity towards each other. He was upset with that public defender because she had won a case in his courtroom that he didn't feel that she should have won. And he basically said that he was going to make sure that he was found guilty. And if he wasn't found guilty, and for some reason that this public defender was to win the case, that he was going to hang up his robe. The defender failed to go report that. She didn't do a lot of things that she should have done. Anything that the state asked for, the judge gave them, including admitting evidence that wasn't evidence. Also, the state was witnessed by myself and his public defender
right.
trial, giving the alleged victim a wad of cash.
Right.
So, with that being said, when they asked him if he wanted to accept the plea deal before trial, he said no, and they said if he didn't accept it, that they were going to stack charges. Well, long story short, he ended up with, there's 5 charges on his record. However, one was nolo process, but they recharged it again. And so he has 2 of the same charges on his record,
So,
like a double jeopardy.
What is his total sentence?
He has 3 life sentences plus 15 years. The detective in this case got on the stand, and he was asked the question, how come he was never arrested? The detective said in his own words, because he was never a danger to the community. The medical examiner of the alleged victim got up and said that there was no damage to the child in any way to cause them to believe that there was any type of activity.
Well, did they? Yeah. So they checked the child out to see if a rape occurred.
Correct. They checked her out as if one occurred, and they had said that there was no evidence of any kind of activity whatsoever. And also, beforehand, 2 years prior to the allegations, her grandmother had custody of her her whole life, but she took her to put her on some type of birth control because her grandmother didn't want her to have a baby for whatever reason, whatever they were going through. So also, too, that was documented, and I actually saw that because when the mother moved from their marital home that I eventually moved into 3 years later, that was still there at the home where the doctor said, why do you want to put this child on this injectable drug that, when she's not doing anything? Because she was examined at 12 as well. So she alleged that the crime started happening when she was 6.
Well, I'm concerned about 3 life sentences. That means it's a full rape for each one, and the child was under 13.
It's actually under 12. It was 12. It's under 13, correct. And then the offender's over 18. Yes.
And but how? But he wasn't charged actually with rape. It was statutory rape.
That's what one of the charges mean. It's basically a statutory rape. That's not exactly how it's worded, but if you look it up, that's basically what it is. It's a statutory rape. But for 2 years, the child claimed that she was never hurt in any way by her stepfather. And for 2 years, then when she got on the stand, all of a sudden it was a brutal rape.
Well, If I was in Florida, and this is only a suggestion for you, to bring awareness, and that's something you're going to have to do is keep promoting, bringing awareness. Is I would form a protest at the county jail or the common police court. I would start a letter writing campaign, a petition, a Facebook page for him, like a group page, like we have for Change Starts With Us Ohio. So you could, put stuff that he sends in, and also stuff with developments of his case. Right now, you want to be careful if you're in the court, but there's certain things you can still do. You still can do the Facebook page. You can still have a protest, but I'd wait for the protest till maybe springtime. I wish I was in Florida because I would participate in this. It dumbfounds me, about the 3 life sentences. I know Florida is one of the worst states in the nation if you're convicted of a sex crime, because some of the most serious sex crimes happened in Florida. I have a similar situation that I wasn't guilty of. I did 25 years, and that's one reason that keeps me motivated to help people that are wrongfully convicted, innocent, and those that have to see the parole board. We need to get the message out. This is only one of a few videos I want to do with you, because I want to pick. I want to go, through his whole trial, pretty much. And discuss that so we could kind of bring that out. I'm not an attorney, believe me. Your husband, your fiancé would be on death row if I was. That's how bad I am. But you have a lot of people that are behind you. Candace, I know, is one. And there's other people too. And I met you. I forget how I met you. On Facebook, but it was from somebody that works with me.
The groups.
Oh,
the groups.
Yeah, and I
very much believe in advocating for the innocent, and it's just our criminal justice system is absolutely deplorable. The things that they put these people through. I mean, an innocent Marine, he served his country. He was around my kids, my grandchildren. He would never do anything like that. He never even had any kind of an arrest in his whole life.
Yeah, I'm not the yeah. You don't have to convince me. I'm with you on this. But you're going to have to convince others, because people assume just because you're arrested and convicted of it, you're guilty. Society doesn't want to understand that our court systems have a lot of issues, and they need to reform our criminal justice system from the bottom up, from the top down, and work on that. Florida's no different. That's if a bunch of people gets help, your husband gets help, the fiancé gets help. So that's one thing. But you also had to focus on him somewhat. And have you contacted any of the Innocence projects?
Yes. They said that you have to exhaust everything that you can do.
Which is true. Yeah. That is true.
I've been eating, sleeping, and drinking this case for 4 years.
But you got to be careful you don't get burned out, because you're not going to be any good to him. I mean, I've been doing this 11 years. I've had 4 heart attacks, 3 strokes, and this last May was a big deal. So it's going to continue.
Yes, the stress is no joke.
No, I mean,
really trying to kill people.
I became friends with people on death row. One of the guys are one of the people that's all out of appeals in Ohio. I know a couple of people on death row in Florida. I never wanted to be friends with people on death row because of this reason,
Right.
And now they asked me to witness it, and that's going to be hard for me.
Right. Now, you asked about his charges, and if I could go back and just touch on it, because I actually looked it up
Okay.
while we were talking. And his first charge, now this is the interesting one. When he was arrested, the first two charges were lewd and lascivious behavior, molest victim less than 12, offender over 18 or older, and it states the statute. That one was no process. The alleged date was 6/19/2006. See, he didn't even know these people at this time.
Right.
There's a lot more to it, but that was never brought out.
Right.
Then that one was no process on 11/14/17 because they were trying to get him to take that deal, and they took that one off. That was count number 5. And the other first count was the sexual battery of child less than 12, and the child less than 12. Okay, so those were the first two. Now,
so Florida is different than Florida's different than Ohio because it's under 13 in Ohio.
Right. So that was a 2007, and coincidentally, this is part of how they were able to convict him and block him from giving his defense and telling them where he was at, or even looking up work records because he spent lots of time there.
Right.
So it was 6/19/2007. See, they didn't have any dates, they didn't have any details, they couldn't tell you what time of year it was or anything. So that's 6/19/2007. So he had those two charges. They dropped the lewd and lascivious behavior. Then they kept the sexual battery. Then when he didn't take the plea deal, they added a second charge on 6/19/07 of sexual battery. And then they added another charge, 6/19/07, lewd and lascivious. And then they added another charge, 5/19/2013, lewd and lascivious battery. Which
right.
The sexual battery is a capital felony, that carries a life. The second charge is a sexual battery, which is capital, a life sentence. The lewd and lascivious molestation is also a life felony.
Right.
And then the lewd and lascivious battery, that's a second-degree felony. So that was the 15-year sentence, and then the first 3 were life sentences.
Wow.
Yeah.
Have you studied each charge, to see exactly if it fits the crime?
I have, and there is no crime, so it doesn't fit.
Well, I know there's no crime in your case, but
Right.
we got to find some kind of mistake that they made, and if you and maybe you get somebody else you trust, to look over his transcripts and see if each of you could find something that was done wrong. 2 eyes are better. I mean, 2 people are better than just one.
Well, that would go back to the law clerk that actually has been helping him. And he was actually the same county in Florida and the same judge. And he has 3 more years to go than my fiance.
This is just a sad situation, and I feel for you on this. You're one of so many cases that are coming by that it's only by hearsay. Somebody points a person out, and they say he did it, and clink, he's guilty.
Exactly.
And that's happened.
It didn't help.
Yeah.
It just didn't help that this judge was so callous. I mean, I will quote what he said was, like I told you, if she won this case, he was going to hang up his robe. They talked about text messages that were alleged. They never even brought text messages like a printout or something from the phone company that said these text messages even existed. So the jury was left to speculate to if that even occurred.
Right.
There was no evidence, no DNA. All it was is she said.
And I don't believe that they can find you guilty on speculation.
Right.
They had to have solid proof, which we know they're not going by. Like I said, we're going to have to do this 2 or 3 times, maybe even more, to really get a story out there, because I also want to do a Facebook one with you. I really want to get your story out there. I want to get Candace's out there. But you're both in the same situation. You're both in the courts right now. So we have to be careful, because after you're out of the courts, I want to interview your fiance as well. But let's wait till the courts rule on him. And, he has to cover the cost, though. I can't pay for their phone calls. What would you like? Do you have a contact information if there's an attorney or somebody you're listening to that would like to help? Or if there's just people that want to write letters and support for you. Do you have an email that people can get a hold of you in?
Sure. It would be Becky White, common spelling, BeckyWhite. The number's 380, and that would be at gmail.com.
Text that to me as well so that I could put on ours. I think I have it, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
And this video will be posted later on tonight. It takes a little while. You can share it. I won't be able to see it till morning time on my computer, though. And I'll share it. If I was you, you can't really send it to the media without his name being mentioned.
Right.
But share the video. And then once we can use his name, we'll do one where it will go to the media. But you'll have to do that in Florida. I don't have any contacts out there.
I will tell you that the alleged victim's family had contacts in the media, and they absolutely crucified him before he was even went to trial.
So that didn't help.
They set out to ruin him, and they did.
So they convict the jury, the media convict him basically, like they do all over.
Yeah, pretty much.
And the media is exempt from being sued. You know that. You can't sue the media.
It's a connection between who owned the media, which was actually our state attorney, Waterman Broadcasting. He owned Waterman Broadcasting, and his wife was actually she ran it, and he was the state attorney for our 20th judicial system here.
Yeah, this is boy, I mean, I just can't believe what I heard regarding his case. If you were a defense attorney, you would have gotten him free, just by the way you explained it.
I tried everything. I was pushing. I talked to his attorney that he had that didn't do right by him, and he actually went to my fiance and said that I wanted to be the attorney. I was barely just telling him, his due process is being violated. You're holding him without his speedy trial. They signed a speedy trial waiver, which he wasn't even in court for. Just so many things that they did to make sure that he would go away. And that he would have to fight for his life. And it's taken a toll on all of us. His mother's not well. He's lost a stepfather.
It's heartbreaking. I know. It's heartbreaking.
And the stuff that family did and said after and while and during and before the conviction, it was amazing. It was amazing. And they got away with all of it. Nothing was done to those people whatsoever because of their ties with the sheriff's department. Right.
Hey, you got 5 minutes more on this because we keep them at a half hour. Make a plea to the public for your fiancé. A plea that, and I know you got the emotion. A plea to try to get people's help. We're going to try it this way because I think you're going to be good at it.
If anybody's listening and this story hits your heart, I ask you, if you are in the position, if you can do anything to help us, to help him, to help our family. This is an innocent man who fought for his country, and he was denied. He was denied his due process. The law did not work for him. It didn't work for him. The only one that will and always will prevail is the Lord Jesus Christ.
That's true.
Right now, we need to get this out. It's not just our family. It can happen to you. It can happen to your sister, your mother, your brother. It can happen to anybody. Right. And you don't know how it hurts until it hits you, until it happens to you.
How about financial donations? Yeah. How about financial donations?
Anything that anybody can do. If anybody can donate anything, that would be the best thing. That would be the best thing for him.
Right, but But email Becky White, and she could give you the information. Or do you have the information for donations now?
I haven't set up anything as of yet. We've been doing it ourselves.
Do a personal Facebook fundraiser. Go to fundraisers and do it on the personal one. And it'd be like for 2 weeks, and you can renew it. And every week they'll put money into an account, but that money has to be used for what you claim. And we know if you really want to get somebody free, you're not just talking about a couple $1,000. You may be talking a couple $100,000. And the average American does not have the money. Now, you made the perfect plea to these people. And folks, you heard Becky White. And you know what is happening in her situation with her fiancé, wrongfully convicted, doing 3 life sentences plus some, I guess. That's wrong. And it's all hearsay, just like they do in Ohio. I guess we're not the only privileged state on that. I heard Florida's one of the worst. Right? I heard Florida's one of the worst, though. And I would have loved to move out there, but because of my past, I'm not going to.
Oh, no, please don't. Because, that is actually set up to fail. It is set up to fail. Even if they put them on the probation or any of that, it's absolutely set up to fail. And they just put them, it's all about money, and it's a revolving money door. That's it.
Right.
That's all it is.
Well, I'm hopeful that these videos will help people. I think we need everybody to share these videos. We need you to even subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is Change Those With Us Ohio. And you could list to everyone and share that with people. Let's get the recognition we need for these folks. You and everybody else that is pleading for their loved ones. You all have one thing in common. You want them home. Even the ones that are guilty, a lot of them should have been released a long time ago. But our system's set up for people to fail.
Excessive sentencing. And also, in his case, a vindictive sentence.
Right, and that's what we did a video yesterday with Lori Rayburn, because her friend was, for a robbery and stuff, he got like a 55-year sentence, flat time just for 3 robberies, something like that. So we're going to pray for you and study Romans 8:28.
Awesome.
I will do so. Yeah, and you will win. All good things.
Yes, always with God on your side, you win.
Right. And your last word, you got 30 seconds.
God bless everyone. If it's on your heart, please help us out. Becky White at 380@gmail.com. Thank you.
Okay. Wait a second. 1 second. Okay. I'll put background music on the podcast.